Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Laura Renner here, the owner and founder of Freedom Makers, and I'm coming to you for our weekly Facebook Live. And I just want to start off today by giving a shout out to Jenny Boyles. She is a Freedom Maker, but she also works on the internal team at Freedom Makers, helping us to run the company. And her focus is she coordinates all of our marketing. And at least I think it's kind of an example of when you find a good match as far as what you're willing to delegate and what they're willing to do. At least I hope she's happy with what she's doing. And because I just feel like we have a good match and we get along well together. And every week we get together and talk about what we're going to focus on that week. Particularly, or one of the things we talk about is the topic of that week's Facebook Live. And, we might plan them out a few weeks in advance too. But anyway, and lately what she'll do is when we're going to talk about a blog that either we wrote or that someone wrote, a guest blogger wrote, she'll share her takeaways from editing and reading that blog and then editing and getting it published. And what I like about it is she'll say that, oh, this is what captured me or what I liked about that blog. And I'll be like, hold up, let me write that down. Even if it's a blog I wrote, I'm like, wait a second, let me write that down. And I just it's just nice to have a second perspective, and also that that she is that involved and is willing to share her insight. So thank you, Jenny. Shout out to you. I really enjoy working with you, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. So today we're going to talk about a blog we published this week about systems versus people. Knockout, drag out, just kidding. But I was kind of inspired by this blog, by a podcast I listened to, where the person was giving an interview about how to win government contracts. And one of the things he said was, you have to remember that government is system. It's a system that is run by people, right? And so it's not like, so when you call and you kind of get frustrated by an answer that doesn't make sense or anything like that, that's what you have to remember, is that it's a system being run by people. So it's not, that one person isn't going to have all the answers. And that was just mind-blowing for me, because we've all been there, right? Where you're working with a big company and the customer service agent is just giving you an answer that makes no sense, or you're like, well, why can't I do it this way that just is a whole lot easier and has more common sense? And they're like, I can't, and that's when you do the, let me talk to your supervisor, right? Because we know that they're going to have more authority to take care of whatever you're trying to work on. And so it's not necessarily that person's fault, that customer service agent's fault. It might be the company's policies or how they've trained their agents to handle situations that determines, our level of frustration, right? But that's one thing that I think would help us if we keep that in mind is, okay, this is a system being run by people. And so if you're not getting the answer you think makes the most sense or that is the most suitable for you, what can you do about it aside from escalating it or calling them out on Twitter or something like that? There's not a lot you can do, versus a small business, where a small business, the people are the systems, right? The owner, you are the system. So a customer can call you up and say, I have an issue with this. And you can be like, yeah, I can fix that, or that makes sense. Let me just change it real quick. And maybe you don't even change it. You just do it because that's how your business operates. And so there's a big difference when we think about a big business or a government agency as a system run by people, whereas a small business, the people are the system. And so that's something that you want to think about as a small business owner, is that while that in a way that makes it easier, where the client feels that personal connection with you and they're able to get a response quickly and a response that makes sense, whether or not that's what you do for all of your clients, it makes sense in that situation. That's great, but it can also hurt you. An example we give in the blog is there was a company where when it came to invoicing every month, there was so many exceptions that only the owner knew about. And this is a multi-million-dollar company. And so every month the team was kind of hamstrung while the owner had to go through and say, oh, wait, no, that company got this credit and that company got that discount. And it was for whatever reason that may not be in any, if they had a policy or a guidebook, it wouldn't be in anywhere of that, because the owner was the one giving these discounts or making these changes and giving credits and things like that because they could, and because that business, the system was the owner, right? Or the owner is the system. So that's just an example how, as a small business owner, you are the system, which is good as far as that personal touch for the client, but can also hurt your business. So you want to keep that in mind and figure out the best way to balance that. And so that's kind of, the big takeaway from the blog is figuring out how to balance that. You don't want to have so many policies or guidelines in place that you become that like a, where the system, the company is the system, and therefore people aren't able to respond to clients in ways that make sense. But at the same time, if you're planning to grow, then you have to position yourself so that you are not the system, right? So that your team knows what's going on and they're empowered to make decisions and do things that move the company forward while still keeping you at a comfortable level of control or knowledge. So that's kind of a fine line. It's hard to balance, but I think recognizing that you might be at the risk of hamstringing your company if you're not, if you are the system and you're not sharing that or systematizing or even standardizing so that the rest of your team could respond to clients, then that's going to hurt you from growing your company too. So just something to keep in mind. Keep that balance with systems versus people in your small business, no matter what size you are or what size you want to grow to or stay at. You want to make sure that you have the right balance so that, one, you get some peace of mind and maybe even able to take a vacation one day, and two, your employees feel empowered and able to do their jobs to their fullest, and three, your business is growing comfortably. All right, so that's our tip for today. Be sure to check out the blog to read more details, and we will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.